Today's video will be about visa, flight, accommodation, and some rough budgeting for you before you go to Korea. As I've mentioned before, Malaysia and Korea have visa waiver agreement. It means that Malaysian passport holder can stay in Korea for 90 days without a visa. So you don't have to get your visa at the Korean embassy if you're going for this program unless you are registering for more than one semester or longer, means you'll be staying more than 90 days. So you do have to go to Korean embassy and get a D4 visa, which is also a student visa. What you need to keep in mind relative to the 90 days is your entry and exit date in Korea. Let's say your flight is on Saturday, but you arrive on Sunday morning. Your day one is on Sunday morning, not on Saturday. Now let's talk about flights. I am lucky enough to be sponsored by Korean Embassy to take my Korean Air flights. So since it's sponsored, of course, I took the weekend flight. If you take Korean Air as well, there are chances you can get as low as 1,700 ringgit on weekday flights. If Korean Air flight is not within your budget, there are also other options for flight tickets. It can go as low as 1,100 ringgit from Kuala Lumpur to Incheon International Airport. You can try to look up AirAsia or Vietnam Air. Let's go to accommodation. So IWA also have their own dormitory. The dormitory is about 5,000 ringgit. The registration for dormitories is super early. Fall semester starts in September, but the dormitory application starts in July. So you really have to pay attention to their bulletin board. They only do their announcement here, and the period to register is quite short. If you think the dorm is too expensive for you, of course there are other options that you can find outside, depending on your budget and also your requirement, what are the things that you need. You can consider staying at an international share house. It can go from 1,500 ringgit to 2,200 per month. It can be a little bit expensive than the dorm, but it depends on your choice. If you choose like the room for one person use, of course it's going to be expensive because these houses are proper houses. It's like your own personal room at home. Another place to consider is Airbnb. There's a lot of option in Airbnb to match your requirements and the amenities that you needed. It can go for as low as 1,300 ringgit. For Airbnb, usually there is no deposit, so the rent fee is slightly higher than this next option, but the next option requires you to have savings about 7,000 ringgit to 14,000 ringgit depending on the house type. It's called one room or two room, yeah, something like that. You have to go to the Budongsan, which is the property, but it can go to, the rent can go to as low as 900 ringgit per month. The kind of houses that I'm talking about is like Oktapang and Jihachip. Last but not least, this could be your cheapest option yet. You can try a type of housing called Goshiwon. Goshiwon is a very small cube-like living space where in that small space they cramp everything like your bed, your closet, your table. Sometimes inside they also have toilets, but you practically have no walking space. So it is not suitable for people with claustrophobia. But with the small space comes a small rent. The Goshiwon can go as low as 700 ringgit, sometimes even lower if you can manage to come here and find them locally, when you are here. It's very difficult to find such low prices, overseas by the internet and stuff. So it's better if you come here and find the place here. So there you go. All in all, how much do you think you need to have in hand before you register for this program? Let's add up all that I've mentioned before, okay? Of course, this is not a concrete budget. The prices and costs might change by the next semester. So please make sure you check the current cost before you do the calculation. Also, I am not using accurate numbers here. This is only for assumption. I will do two calculations. One is for cheap option, another one is for like a standard option. Let's calculate the cheapest option first. Registration fee 220 ringgit, tuition fee 6,100 ringgit, cheapest flight possible from AirAsia 1,100 ringgit, Plus, if you choose the Goshi won, which is about 700 ringgit per month, that is 2,100 ringgit for 3 months. Totals up to 10,920 ringgit. Now let's calculate the standard option. Registration fee 220 ringgit, tuition fee 6,100 ringgit. Let's say you take the Korean Air on weekends like me, flights 2,500 ringgit, and let's say you take the dormitory. 3 months will be 5,000 ringgit. Totals up to 13,820 ringgit. That's all for this video. If you have any more questions, do comment below and I will try to answer them in my next video. See you again. Bye bye.